Sorry, I didn't turn this thing up, but now you can hear me, right? Okay, so I'll just start off by thanking each and every one of you coming here to listen to our TED Talk today, and I'll be starting right now.
Welcome.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, that is me being dumb. That is me
Welcome
being
to
dumb
something.
second, and I will not be dumb for the third time. I'm apologizing.
Well,
Yeah. Oh, no, that was not me being dumb. I'm just gonna go back. Okay, thank you, Tech. But this is stuck. Okay, I'll just wait until it decides to reveal itself. Okay, now we have this big picture up on here. Yeah. And as many of you already recognize here, this is Peter and the Starcatcher. And so when I was in year 8, I actually participated in our school's Hongqiao campus's fall play production of Peter and the Starcatcher. And it was actually a really fun experience. And just in case a lot of you who don't know what this is, Peter and the Starcatcher is the prequel, the pre-story of the very famous Peter Pan. And the story itself follows the footsteps and the journey of how Peter, as an orphan, became the boy who never grows, how he found Neverland, Tinkerbell, and all of his other friends. But also very interestingly, the story follows the footstep of the villain. Right, follows the footstep of the supreme and hilarious villain, the pirate captain Black Stash, which that was me. I played Black Stash, the supreme villain, the pirate captain. And it was the most wonderful thing in the entire world. It was my best moment in life. And you can probably not see in this picture, but this is actually taken from one of the scenes that we had improvised. So this picture, this scene right there in this moment was actually not scripted. This was not rehearsed. We had this moment where there was a technical issue from the cue, and there was supposed to be a blackout, but there wasn't. So we had 2 seconds. All of these cast members, we had 2 seconds right there to sort out what's going to happen. And this happened. This was completely on top of our heads, and this was something that's improvised. And I think the reason why this happened was really because there's a huge chemistry in the whole cast. There's love and there's trust, and there's still people coming here to see me talk today, like my friends, and that's Sophie. She's up on there. She's still here today. And these are the people and the friends that I've made in that whole cast. It was one of the best moments. And really, this picture was taken in 2020, a really long time ago. And people were like, I feel like you still talk like Black Stash. I feel like you still walk like a pirate captain, and which is what I'm doing right now, which I'm going to explain to you why I do that. In reality, I feel like Black Stash has never really left me. I've never left him, because as an actor, I got the chance to delve deep into his heart, knowing that he has a hilarious and kind of tough outlook, but really inside him, he has a really kind of vulnerable heart. I was really emotionally connected with him as a pirate captain, and that's why I was so reluctant to let go of him. And so I had this conversation with Ms. Madison a couple of days ago when I went back to Hongqiao, and she kind of explained to me as an actor that is something called emotional resonance. That's me being smart because I didn't mess up with the tech. Emotional resonance isn't something classy or fancy. It's very simple. It happens in everyday life. It happens with us, with our families, with our friends, and all it takes for you to have emotional resonance is to be a human. And we're all humans, which is why we all have emotional resonance, and that is the ability to feel and connect with others, whether it's fictional or non-fictional. Emotional resonance happens in many multiple ways, and today I'm just going to talk about through my experience in the creation of art and theatrical performances in movies and in music. And the first one I'm going to talk about is emotional resonance in movies. Filmmakers have a way to make you feel a certain kind of emotion at a certain part of a film. And I think the part where filmmakers do it really good is where they edit films. And one of the most famous film called Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock is actually a horror film. And horror films have a very special model that they follow. They follow this model of editing and edit the pacing of the entire movie so you can feel fear at certain moments, whether it's jump scares or something. In that movie Psycho, a very classic scene, and it's actually also the climax of the entire movie, is actually where the main character gets murdered. Before the murder happens, the filmmaker edits the pacing and edit the film in a very roller coaster style way. And what does that mean? It means that it goes through a very high climb up in a very, very slow pace. It kind of makes you feel like you want to sleep. The camera moves between certain objects around the bathroom where the main character gets killed, and you can feel the suspense building up as if you're riding a roller coaster up to the climax, to the top. It stops for a second. It stops and focuses on the main character's face before it goes down. And that's what happens exactly when it focuses on the main character's face before she gets murdered, and quickly to the other shot of the murder. The reason why this happens is there is something called emotional rhythm. Through pacing, through editing, it's about when to stop at a character's face, when to create a moment of silence, and how do they trigger that kind of emotion in you. The other thing that movie and filmmakers do in resonating, evoking your emotions is creating relatable characters and very interesting and touching plots, which is something I feel like Disney is quite capable of doing. I'm a big fan of Disney, and I feel like Disney has probably one of the best movies in the entire world. One of the things I'm going to talk about today in Disney is actually a movie called, come on, where is my... Okay. Inside Out. So Inside Out is actually a movie that connects so greatly with emotion and emotional resonance because it characterized every single emotion. There is joy, there's fear, there's anger, there's sadness and fear. The very basic emotions are then actually characters inside our minds. And the thing that Disney does is that they created a sort of imaginary world to explain to you how these kind of things work. And Inside Out, a very special thing is actually the memory orbs in the background. The memory orbs explains why we have certain memories that are stronger. It explains how emotions are kept inside capsules. Memory orbs kind of encapsulate the moments where we have our strongest memories, and that explains why we have a better memory of celebrating a friend's birthday, getting caught by the principal, or doing something bad because you feel anxious. Because the concentration of your emotion at that certain moment is so strong, you remember it. Whereas when you take an exam in the gym, you sit there for 2.5 hours, you don't know what to do, and then you sit there in the gym, you take your IGCSE drama exam, you don't even know what they're talking about. That's very boring. There's no emotion in writing the paper. That's why you don't have a really clear memory of what exactly the question was asking you. And that exactly is what Inside Out is talking about. And towards the end of the movie, I don't know if any of you remember, but there's a scene where Riley reunites with her parents after she threw a tantrum. She finds herself feeling this emotion of happy, sad, bittersweet. The mixture of happy and sad inside one memory, inside one emotion, means when we get older, we get a mixture of emotions, and not just these kind of emotions. And I'm actually pretty excited to see the new movie, the Inside Out 2, coming up. It's not here in the theater, but it's actually in the theater this weekend. So I'm actually pretty excited to see how the new emotions will interact with us. And then we'll talk about resonance in music. Resonance in music is a very special thing because music, as we all know, is a universal language. The special thing about music is that you don't need prior knowledge about it to appreciate it. I think, give me a raise of hand. How many of you listen to music per day? How many of you listen to music? Okay, that's pretty much, I think, everyone, unless you're holding a camera. Yeah, I'll assume you listen to music too. And I think that's the point. We all have a sort of feeling to music that we can't explain. Whether you learn music or not, it's a universal language that touches us. The melodies and the rhythm actually aligns with your brain signal as if it's kind of like a therapy or a conversation. And that's why music is so personal. I want you to give me another raise of hand if you wouldn't like to share your personal music list with somebody that you met for only 1 minute. If you want to share it with that person you met, just 1 minute. Yeah. None. Oh, one person? 2? Okay. That's like a minority, but they're like crazy artists, which I really admire. But the thing about music is that it's personal, and they have a certain emotion you have connected to it. You're reluctant to share that with somebody because music has that personal feeling in there, which is also why another Disney movie I'm going to take, Soul. I'm a big Disney fan, I know. Soul talks about the influence of jazz music on African American descendants because it is part of their culture, it is part of their cultural background. Jazz music evokes not just their emotions and daily life, but their nostalgia. Maybe their cultural background is actually evoked by jazz music. And I think what soul is trying to tell us is that music is not just there for you, it's there for everyone. And I think that's what music means. Music in resonance means that they spark the soul inside of you and they give you different kind of emotions, different kinds of genres. And it is also very common to see that each one of us have a list of music, or maybe we have an app that gives us different kind of music every day due to our different emotions and different choices in music. And the last thing I'm talking about regarding emotional resonance is theater. And though I have been tortured by theater quite a lot, I had to sit in that exam I talked about earlier, 2.5 hours and write down things. I still love theater. It is something that I have been associated with for about 6 years actually already. And in theater, what is so special about it is that it's different compared to music and movies. It's happening live. When you sit in a theater, you get the chance to see emotions coming to you right there, whether it's through the actor's body, actor's eyes, actor's dialogues, actor's voice, or through set designs, through lighting. These are all things happening right there live for you because they want to create a certain emotion. For that Peter and the Starcatcher play that I was in, it was probably an emotion of joy because it was a play about growth. It was a play about growing up. And that's why that emotion was joy. And sitting in a theater really means a lot to me because I practically grew up in a theater, whether on stage or off stage. And sitting there live watching performances really means that you can see actors giving you the message. And I think that's what's so special about theater. And I think that's why I'm talking here about you today, why I think each and every one of you should be in part of a theater, whether you like it or not, at least once, because I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 theater students here. Yeah. And so that is a very special moment in the theater where everything's encapsulated, where there might be improvisations, where actors just act there for you, and every performance is different, and every emotion that they transfer is actually different. And when I went back to Hongqiao campus, like I talked to you about last week, I went there to see their musical, I think it was High School Musical. And I was amazed by the potential that the young actors there in middle school, that I don't even know their names are. They sang and danced for like 1.5 hours and playing basketball. And I think Mr. Fennell will be really appreciating if he saw that musical, because people were really playing basketball right there. They really took me inside. I almost felt like I was part of the Wildcats basketball team. But when I walked into that auditorium the first time, I knew that I was home because that was where I belong. I remember when I first played Black Stash, I spent more than 4 hours a day practicing my lines, rehearsing, because it was part of my dream, because I had such an emotional resonance with that character. And as I walked out of that auditorium room, I heard somebody calling my name. It wasn't calling me Jane. They weren't calling me Jane. They called me Black Stash. And I think that was the moment that I realized that maybe when you leave something behind good enough, large enough, huge enough, emotionally, people remember you and remember you as a character. And I think that was my point today. And I feel like being there, being right there, being called Black Stash was probably the strongest emotional resonance I had for myself and for other people that I've met. Thank you.